Hi, I'm Deb Hayes, and I would like to show you how to make one of my favorite summer dishes, Fiesta Quinoa Salad. So the first thing you want to do with this dish is actually cook the grain. Now you can cook it the day before, early in the day, because you want it to cool off a bit before putting it all together. The most important thing to remember about cooking quinoa is that it contains a coating of an oily substance called saponin, and it's bitter, so you really want to rinse it really well. So you need a fine sieve because the grains are small, and you're just going to swish and swish and swish, and when you think you've swished enough and rinsed enough, you want to swish some more. Then you're going to add water, 2 cups per one. You're going to double the liquid, either water or stock. And so you can take like 1 cup of quinoa and 2 cups of water, put it in the pan, bring it to a boil, add just a pinch of salt, cover it, and then put the timer on for 15 minutes. It can take anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes, and so I put the timer on for 15 minutes, and then you check to see if all the liquid has been absorbed. And then you take it off the heat and let it cool down. So any dish that contains garlic, I always like to chop the garlic up first, because in doing so, and then letting it sit for like 10 or 15 minutes before you use it, it increases the potency of the garlic, increases the allicin. So I have 2 cloves of garlic minced, and we're just going to heat that up in 2 teaspoons of oil. You can use olive oil or avocado. I'm using avocado. And I'm actually using infused with lemon avocado oil for this dish. Now, it's important, I think, to measure the fat because we're trying to keep the fat low in this dish. So I'm actually going to measure out. Sometimes when you wing it too much. And we don't want to do that. So the pan has been heating. We have 2 teaspoons of our oil. So now we're going to add our garlic, which has been sitting. And we're just going to lightly saute it. Take the bite out of it. Just for a minute here. Get all that garlic. And then we're going to have 2 teaspoons of cumin. And heating your spices like this really brings out the aroma and the flavor. And that smells really, really good. And you're just going to heat it for another minute. And then we're going to add a little sweetener. And you can use honey is great in this, and I'm going to use agave, which is a natural sweetener that is a low glycemic sweetener. It's a natural. Adding this just to loosen it up so it will mix well in the salad. Alright, that should be good, and we're just going to set that aside while we're putting together some of the other ingredients. Now this recipe calls for 1/2 cup of red onion, which I've chopped, minced, kind of like a small dice. And you don't have to, but I like to marinate it in the vinegar. So it's going to be 1/4 cup of vinegar, and I have used a mixture of blueberry cider vinegar and raspberry wine vinegar. Champagne vinegar you can also use. And it's a nice mixture. But sometimes your onions can have a bite to it, and this just kind of marinates, kind of pickles it, and adds a nice flavor. So that is sitting there. While we're waiting for our garlic to cool down a bit, the recipe calls for 1 small carrot grated. All right. Now I'm going to add the other ingredients that I've have already prepared ahead of time. So I'm going to add now the onion and the vinegar. And the recipe calls for 1 pepper, 1 sweet pepper. And I don't like to use green. I want color and I want the most amount of antioxidants. And in the orange or yellow or red. So you finely chop, well, kind of like mince it, a fine dice. How's that? Of the pepper. I get all that good stuff. There. Then we have 1/3 cup of currants. And because the chives are really robust out there in the garden now, about 1/4 cup of chopped chives, 1/8 to 1/4 cup, depends on what you like. And look at this colorful dish already, and we're not even finished. So next is 1/4 cup of toasted pecans. Now we're trying to keep this low fat, and so the trick is to toast your nuts, and that way you get brings out the most flavor, so you can use less of them. But this adds a nice crunch and flavor. And quinoa also has a nutty-like flavor, so it just enhances that. And then we have 2 sliced scallions. Look how that's coming out. And now we're going to chop, we need 2 teaspoons of finely chopped cilantro. Now if you don't, not everyone likes the flavor of cilantro, and if you don't, you can certainly use parsley. And parsley is just like a vitamin in a green plant. It's just full of vitamins and minerals, so that would actually make a nice addition. You can also add some fresh basil or thyme, whatever you like. Be creative. Alright, now we're going to add our garlic, cumin, and sweetener. I'm going to use the fork, will do a better job. Mix that in. Okay. Now to lighten this up and add some citrus notes to it, we have, and this is a wonderful grater, it's a rasp. It's very, very sharp, and it does this like butter. You just want the yellow part, because the white part can be bitter. And then we're going to cut this in half. Take some of the seeds out. And then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And that will really brighten this dish up. Mix it up really good. Oh yes, can't forget the cayenne. Just a dash or 2, depending on how spicy you like it. And there we are. And we're going to garnish it. You can garnish it with mint, and mint actually would be a nice addition if you want to chop some in. And I love to add edible flowers from the garden. I just picked these nasturtiums and calendulas. And there you go. Fiesta Quinoa Salad. Let's eat.